Kia ora and welcome along to Friday's weather forecast. The weekend is almost on us, but we are looking at a rather wet weekend, especially across the eastern parts of New Zealand. A red warning in place for the Gisborne Tairāwhiti area, and we've got some heavy rainfall feeding on towards that eastern side. You can see on the satellite picture a fair amount of cloud pushing down towards us. We've got some heavy falls to come, some thunderstorms still with us across the northern parts of the country, and we are going to find rain slipping southwards as well on towards the South Island as well. A bit of a change in the forecast as we go through the next couple of days, but you can see this rain continues to feed in on these brisk northeasterly winds in towards the Wairarapa, Hawke's Bay, Gisborne, up towards Tairāwhiti, up also towards the Coromandel as we head in towards, say, Saturday, and also to the top of the South Island as well. As we head through towards Saturday itself, that rain feeds southwards through parts of Canterbury, but you can see there's no real let-up to that heavy rainfall on that eastern side of the North Island. So we're going to find some really heavy rainfall. So like I said, we have that red warning for heavy rain up through Tairāwhiti, but also watches and warnings for the rest of Hawke's Bay as well. And as we go through Saturday, that rain starts to push across towards the Coromandel. Another watch in place for you, and some patchy rain making its way across the rest of the North Island. And that rain is spreading southwards on towards the likes of the South Island as well. So a bit of a wet looking Saturday for us, but especially wet across that eastern side. An unwelcome return for that rainfall on that eastern coast. So we have got some severe weather warnings and watches in place. And like I say, we have got that red warning for Tairāwhiti with the heaviest rainfall up towards those northern areas north of Tolaga Bay, 200 to 250 millimetres of rainfall. But we've also got watches for Hawke's Bay south of State Highway 5, parts of eastern Marlborough, up towards the ranges as well for those western parts of the Tasman area. And we've got that watch too for the Coromandel area as well, and also those far western parts of the Bay of Plenty. Head along to the Met Service website for the latest information on those, and check out our severe weather video as well for a little bit more information on those watches and warnings. But needless to say, it is looking like a fairly wet story for the North Island, especially around that eastern coast as we start things off. Heavy rainfall moving in from Friday afternoon and sticking with us through Saturday. You can see those darker blues showing some heavier falls, perhaps some morning thunderstorms across those northern parts of the Tairāwhiti area. But even through towards the afternoon, that rain is still with us. You can see as we've gone through the daytime, that cloud has thickened up across the western side, bit of early morning brightness, but then patchy rain that feeds in from the west as we head through towards the afternoon. And I think we are looking at a bit of a wet end today across that western side as well. For likes of, say, Auckland, patchy rain on and off through the afternoon, but I think perhaps some better weather just to start the day itself. But the heaviest rainfall as we go through towards the weekend, back towards the Coromandel, and also for this eastern coast. It is still going to be incredibly mild, especially through the night times. Our temperatures really in double figures across the North Island. 10s and 11s seem to be at our lowest as we go through and towards the early hours of Saturday. And daytime highs still back to around about 18s or so up in the far north. But I think generally a relatively mild feel, but with a fair amount of clouds still with us through the daytime on Saturday. For the South Island, like I say, we have got those warnings in place for those western parts of the Tasman district up and towards the ranges west of Motueka, also for for eastern parts of Marlborough with that rain feeding in through there. But you can see the cloud is spreading south with some patchy rain or drizzle in through Canterbury. And even on that western coast, I think we're finally going to see the skies turn cloudier with some showers back for you. If you're looking for dry weather, it's down in the far south, which looks to be a bit better. But even here, we'll have areas of low cloud or perhaps a bit of fog, but that should lift up and just give us a bit of a cloudier story through the afternoon. But even here, we should find some brightness, and generally the best of the weather down in the far south. There's some nice bright spells through the afternoon through parts of central Otago and Southland. In terms of our temperatures, with a touch more cloud returning through the night, we'll find our nighttime temperatures not nearly as cold, but I think we are still going to find our daytime highs up to around about 18 degrees Celsius up there for that western coast. Some of the best temperatures there on that western side, but I think we are going to find even here on the western side of the South Island, the cloud thickens up through a day and some patchy rain arriving later on. So how's Sunday looking? Well, for the east coast, the good news is that the weather does improve. We'll still keep hold of that northeasterly feed of air, but it will ease off a fair bit and we'll push that rainfall a little bit further away. Perhaps still feeding in towards the Coromandel. Worth keeping an eye on the forecast for you guys, but an improving story on that eastern coast. You can see that we've got more wet weather pushing back on towards the western side of the South Island. 1 or 2 heavier falls to watch out for there, and even some rainfall across towards the likes of, say, Canterbury and towards Christchurch, Otutahi. But I think we are going to find, I think there's more cloud on that western coast and some wetter weather on that western side for Sunday. That's it from me, but as ever, you can find the latest forecast and the latest information on those severe weather watches and warnings at metservice.com.